How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Luke from Omeo Robotics, and welcome back to another episode of Mechanical Mayhem. Today we got a very explosive fight with a couple other ones. This is definitely a main event fight with Catastrophe and Mayhem, but we'll get to them a little later. For now, let's go to our first fight, which is going to be between Whiplash and Geometry. Whiplash, just the standard lifter, very well driven, and Geometry, like I said before, definitely an older design, but with that new bar, they actually have been hitting fairly decently, and they are incredibly low to the ground, so that could give Whiplash some problems. So without further ado, let's see how they do down at the box. Alright, getting both robots loaded up into the box here, and here we go. So right away we can see that Geometry's spinning, but Whiplash is a lot quicker, and they're darting, trying to get to the side of Geometry. Geometry just trying to back up and lead Whiplash up their wedge. Whiplash got to the back of Geometry, and they're trying to spin around, but Geometry coming around, just hitting Whiplash. Whiplash seems to be a pretty decent height to get kinda under Geometry's blade, but also not get caught in it. I don't know if that made sense, but anyhow, Whiplash getting a couple of good lifts. Nice pin here. They're definitely showing control and aggression currently. So Geometry's definitely on the back foot. And Whiplash with another good ram, but you can see Geometry's just so low that they keep getting Whiplash stuck in between the weapon and the wedge, kind of like a grabber. Whiplash had another good pin a second ago. And now Whiplash seemed to kind of be stuttering a little, but they seem to be fine now. Geometry not moving, could be they're just caught up on the floor. Yeah, that's what it was. Whiplash getting caught again, but keeping the pressure on. Geometry starting to chase down Whiplash. Whiplash just trying to make some space to give him a good old ram. Looking for an opening. Oh, that was a good lift attempt by Whiplash. They got him off the ground a little bit. Geometry got caught up on the floor again and again. Whiplash just driving circles around Geometry. Geometry trying to keep up. Geometry chasing Whiplash a little bit now. Nice contact between the two. Geometry caught up again. Are they stuck? No, they get free. Yeah, it's nice that their weapon kind of vibrates them a tiny bit. Whiplash with another really good pin. Lift and pin. Geometry gets away. Whiplash keeping the pressure on. Another good lift. Geometry caught up on the floor again. Yeah, if you're Geometry, you really got to start making up some control points. Well, they did so there, but is it enough is the question. Well, they're doing pretty good now, but might be too little too late, and they're caught up on the floor again. They get off, and that's going to be the fight. So, interesting match. Let's see how it was scored. Oh, Geometry actually did pretty well, but the win was given to Whiplash. They just were a little more aggressive, had a little more control. No damage was really dealt, so close win. Good fight for Geometry, but they are knocked out of the competition. So Whiplash moves on to fight the winner of Bullet Ant and the Claw. So Bullet Ant, it's just a tiny brick. I mean, it's been spinning fairly decently, not the best, but fairly decently throughout this competition, getting the pops it needs. The Claw has been very good with driving, and even though that hammer's been having some problems, it just the drivetrain and those claws make a really deadly combo. So if you're Bullet Ant, you want to try to knock off the claws. If you're the Claw, you just want to keep driving at Whiplash. They also have the plow on the back, so maybe they can jam up Bullet Ant's weapon, but I don't know. Let's see how they go down in the box. All right, both robots are in the arena. This is going to be a pretty good fight. And here we go. Bullet Ant definitely has the power to knock off those claws, but you can see that they're already giving them trouble. The claw with a nice pin. Hammer looks to be having issues as always, but looks like they're gonna have to back out now. Bullet Ant getting away, spinning up, and there go the forks on, or the claws on Claw Viper. Claw Viper? What? No, the claw. My goodness, gosh. Bullet Ant just circling, claw, starting to use that back plow. Let's see if they can actually like pin Bullet Ant or something. You could see that it got a nice little deflection there. Bullet Ant tossing the claws. The claw actually doing pretty good with that back kind of shunt-esque plow. We gotta see if they can keep that up. Hopefully their side armor can stay on, because otherwise one of their treads could definitely go. But if you're Bullet Ant, you kind of want to get away, spin up, come back in, deliver a big hit, rinse and repeat. Claw Viper. This robot is not Claw Viper. Oh my gosh, sorry. The Claw, not really using their hammer. They're just trying to go full for control here. They're definitely being more aggressive. Bullet Ant just kind of sitting and waiting for an opening. And Bullet Ant does have a slow turning speed, so that could greatly affect the match. I don't think Bullet Ant's going to get flipped at all, but they can drive upside down if worse comes to worse. The Claw, I mean, yeah, if it gets flipped over, it's done for, but I don't think any of them are going to get flipped in this fight. The Claw, just pushing, wailing. Bullet Ant, not really doing a whole lot. If they can get that blade to connect with the hammer arm on the Claw, then they can definitely rip off the hammerhead. But doesn't look like that's currently happening. There's a good little engagement from Bullet Ant. Not really doing much with the weapon, but just positioned good. The Claw's definitely just positioning better this fight, as we come to the last 20 seconds or so. Nice pin from the Claw. That might be the thing that saves them in this fight if Bullet Ant doesn't do anything. And it seems like every time Bullet Ant rams into the front of the Claw, the hammer arm actually fixes itself, which is really interesting. I don't know why it does that. And closing out the fight with a nice pin with the hammer working on the Claw. So this is likely going to be a one-sided judge's decision. And that was a pretty good fight. The Claw ended up getting the win there. Just a little bit more aggressive. It was very close. Bullet Ant was right. It was a very split decision. Overall, I would have liked to see Bullet Ant go a little further, but this is a pretty good first test run for them. So good job, Bullet Ant, but congratulations to the Claw for moving on. They will go ahead and fight Whiplash now. So our next fight is going to be the big one, Catastrophe and Mayhem. Both of these robots have the same filament for their weapon from the same spool and everything, so who knows if one's gonna break or whatever. I believe those forks on Mayhem might be PLA plus. I'm not entirely sure. This was a while ago. They are now for sure. I don't know if they were at this point. That being said, Catastrophe is still insanely low and can give Mayhem a lot of problems. That front is very wide and low, and that weapon is very potent. Mayhem actually going in with a horizontal configuration, so the forks don't really matter, but I think the wedge was PLA plus, pretty sure. But yeah, so just two titans fighting. So let's see how they do down at the box. Man, oh man, I'm excited for this fight. Oh, this is gonna be an explosive one. All right. And right out the gate here, we see Mayhem spin up and get right in the middle of the box. Catastrophe, definitely going to be a problem with those forks. Mayhem getting a good push and hit, weapon on weapon hit sends Mayhem's into the wall and Catastrophe kind of away. Mayhem chasing down Catastrophe. This is going to be a quick pace fight. Catastrophe getting some room. Mayhem charging straight at that weapon in forks. We're going to have to see if Catastrophe's hot glue mounted weapon can stand up. And it looks like the wedge, the front left wedge on Mayhem is off. And it looks like the entire weapon is off. Oh my gosh. And it looks like Catastrophe's weapon is also down. So this is now just a driving battle. You can see Catastrophe almost got a lift there on Mayhem with their self-rider. Mayhem just circling, trying to look for an opening. And a good pin by Mayhem. They're allowed to keep him there for about 10 seconds, and then they gotta back up. So let's see if Catastrophe can reset. They still have those forks. And Mayhem doesn't really have much ground game. They have, one wedge, but... And another really good pin for Mayhem. If you're Mayhem, this is what you need to do for the rest of the fight. And if you're Catastrophe, you need to put those forks into play. You could see Mayhem up on those forks, but get away. And another beautiful pin in the exact same spot. Catastrophe trying to wiggle himself free with their self-rider. Let's see if they can do it. Nope, they just get released instead. So Mayhem just charging straight at the front of Catastrophe again and again. Catastrophe not driving the best. Another good little push from Mayhem. Catastrophe facing a wall again. That was a good engagement from Catastrophe, but Mayhem able to back out and reset. They're just circling Catastrophe. They're doing what Bullet Ant tried to do with the claw, but they're actually succeeding. Another good ram by Mayhem. Even though Mayhem seems to have taken more damage, you gotta think Catastrophe might be on the back foot here if they can't get more control or aggression at least. They're probably a little ahead on damage since they've affected Mayhem's armor as well, but damage is only 1 of 3 categories, so... And, they're getting pinned again by Mayhem, so... And they're struggling to get out that corner. Those forks are nice and long, so I don't blame them. Mayhem up on the forks again, but keeping Catastrophe pinned in that corner. So I guess that counts as points towards Mayhem? I don't know. But it looks like that's going to be the fight, so this is going to be an incredible one to judge. And what a great fight. Oh my gosh, that might be the fight of the season. That was an amazing fight. Holy cow. After a lot of discussion, Mayhem ended up with the win just because they controlled the entire fight after both robots lost their weapons. So, very good showing from both of these robots. Catastrophe, absolutely a contender. Their disc did break, so Mayhem's stayed intact. It just got knocked off. But Catastrophe's actually needed to be reprinted. So that might have swayed some damage category too, I don't know. But anyhow, our next fight is gonna be Sawblaze and Deathroll, and this fight wasn't actually, it doesn't exist because we were running a little low on time, so we just decided that it was obviously, quote unquote, going to be a Sawblaze win, and so we just didn't do the fight. I think there was some other fights that we were really excited for, and we skipped this one. So good job, Sawblaze. They'll fight Mayhem next time. And that's gonna be it for this episode of Mechanical Mayhem. As always, if you guys like the video, you know what to do. If you didn't like the video, you know what to do. Very excited to see if Mayhem can rebuild, to see how much further they can go, because they do have that championship power after that fight with Catastrophe. Catastrophe got really unlucky, but just a little bit better driving, and it could have been an entirely different story. Uh, but Mayhem versus Sawblaze is going to be a pretty fun fight, and Whiplash in the Claw is going to be a very technical, kind of tenacious fight of who can position better. So I'm excited to see that. I hope you guys are excited to see that. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.